Welcome to WDX, the Wired Differently Experience. Man, I got to tell you, why do I do these things live? I do it live because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen with me. I don't know what's going to happen on the show. I don't know what's going to happen. It's just an entirely off the rails, wired differently controlled chaos. I'm kind of serious there, but not so really. I got this thing planned out. Don't worry about that. But welcome to Wired Differently, the Wired Differently Experience. And I love this show. I love talking to you. And I've got a great topic today. I did it again. I did it again. Why do I go so far? Constantly this brand, right? This brand has put me in, I suppose, a form of jeopardy. I suppose a form of, I heard this the other day at a fellowship meeting. And one woman stood up and they were telling their story, and she just said, I've always just escaped at the nick of time. And I couldn't get it out of my head. It's just this entire idea of how we live our life, and certain people live their life, and certain people in this wired differently world understand how we live our lives, and we literally escape in the nick of time, just like Batman and Robin and any superhero. That nick of time, we just escape. And so I started writing this message actually where all great things get started, in the shower. I actually thought about giving you a screenshot of my shower because it's such an epic creation of a shower. I mean, this shower is creative, and I can create in the shower. There's a lot going on. You got to shave your head, and you just got your morning thoughts. I have my coffee in there. I got the TV in there. I got everything going on in there. And I started writing this nick of time, and it developed into this, I've gone too far. Because the nick of time experience, the nick of time thought process, this nick of time euphoria comes from this wired differently personality trait. You're gone too damn far, Todd. I got a lot of people in my life, and I don't know that one of them hasn't said at least once or twice, you're gone too far. Heather's told me, you're gone too far. My oldest daughter, Courtney, Dad, way too far. My middle daughter, Kendra, I just got off the phone with her. Dad, you're gone too far. Kara, my youngest daughter, Dad, I love you. And I'm a lot like you. But Dad, you just gone too far this time. And let's not leave out my phenomenal bride, Tracy. Not leave out my phenomenal, I got all kinds of women in my life that are helping me run things, but Heather's one of them. But Tracy, my wife of 34 years, she has said time and time again, you're going too far. You're going too far. And so I wanted to talk about that today. I wanted to get it out there, this Wired Differently Experience, and talk about. So welcome to Wired Differently Experience. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My job, though, I want you to understand, is to teach you, to inspire you, to coach you, to mentor you. And the show's job is to challenge you. The status quo is not good enough for you. The show's job is to remind you of a few things. But your job, let me tell you what, your job right now is to be, do, and think differently. I know a lot of you watch these shows, and you know you understand what's going on, because I am Todd Saylor, the author of the books, The Brand, and the Attitudinal Disorder, Wired Differently. And I don't take that word attitudinal disorder lightly. So I want to share some attitudinal disorder stuff with you today, and I titled it, You're Gone Too Far, Todd. And I wanted to explain this to you because I think that you're not alone when you think about the times maybe someone has told you went too far. And so this message is not just for me and myself to understand why I've went too far. This message isn't for just those people that go too far. I think this message is more for the person that's not willing to take it too far. And so I wanted to kind of teach on that a little bit. And I want to make sure you all feel like this Wired Differently piece of you is something that we can share. And so I was thinking about how to introduce this, and I just wanted to tell this story about how I was in Graceland with Tracy, my wife, of 34 years, and we were away from the kids, and we were away from all 14 companies, and we went to Nashville to a wedding, and we rented a car, and we drove from Nashville to Memphis. You know, our prayers are with the Memphis people right now. They've had couple really difficult things. We were just there a couple of weeks ago. We had a great time in Memphis. We met amazing people on Beale Street. We toured amazing things. It was like one of the most interesting times we've ever had on one of our little excursions. So the people of Memphis are not indicative of what they're going through there right now with the 2 losses they've had over there. But I want to tell you, Memphis was a great experience. But what happened in Memphis that brought me a little too far was, we pushed the vacation just a little too far. We tried to cram in stuff a little too much. We tried to just do too much. But we ended up in Graceland, the hotel resort, and my day was full, and I was supposed to go do the tour and do all this, but I had to get up, and I wanted to do a meeting at like 8 in the morning with my PayServe people. And I get on this call, and I can't find a place. I can't get the right Wi-Fi, and where can I be alone, and where can I get this experience and give this message of you going too far? And so what I ended up doing was going too far to get the message. So I go through this whole process, and I find a room, a conference hall, and I kind of pick the lock, and I jimmy it, and I go in there, and I went just too far. But I sat down, and I realized my camera wasn't going to work just right, so I started scurrying around and looking under the tables and around, and didn't break into it, but I wedged my way into another room, and I found a bunch of plates. And so I stacked those plates up and then put a coffee cup behind it and create some weight and get the camera up the right height, and I jury-rigged this whole process of seeing myself in the camera, and sure enough, some workers start coming. What are you doing here, sir? And I'm like, I'm Todd Saylor. I'm wired differently. I'm going to meet with my people at PayServe Systems. I hope you're okay if I have this conference room. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Maybe you went just a little too far. Well, I had to get it up and running, but you can talk to your boss. Send him in here, and I put him on the camera, and we just went too far. But the story I told my company was the story about Elvis Presley. I was in Graceland. I was in the king's world. I was doing all these things with the king. And I realized that the king just went too far. And I started thinking about the likeness of people that just went too far. I watched the movie Elvis. I was in Elvis's castle, if you will, his Graceland mansion. I was in his hotel. I was absorbed by the king, and I was thinking about Elvis. And it wasn't really the Elvis that was moving me through the moment. It was just this idea. There was a certain part in his movie that Elvis just went too far. There was a piece in this movie where the colonel said, hey, man, I want you to go up on stage, and I don't want you to move your hips. I don't want you to get too sexual. I don't want you to get anything. I just want you to stand up there and sing your songs and just be a smooth Elvis with not gyrations. Don't carry on. Don't excite the crowd. Elvis says, man, oh man, all right, Colonel, I think I can do that, man. So he gets up there on the stage, and he stands there in this epic scene where he's looking over all these people. And he's, we see Elvis as Elvis, but at that point he was a young man, and he was just finding his way, and he was finding his crowd, and he could have been manipulated and bullied and pushed around, and he was going that way, but he got up on that stage, and he just had enough. And he got on that stage. And when he was supposed to act the way he was supposed to act, when he was supposed to listen to the police, when he was supposed to listen to the colonel, when he was supposed to listen to all these people, he listened to the man inside his head. And when the drum hit and the guitar started and he started to sing, he didn't stay still. He went like this. He wriggled his finger. Now, I'm going to talk to you about the word wriggle in a little bit, but I want you to understand the king said this: you got to be who you really are. You got to be willing to change who you are and be who you want to be. And he said it on the stage, and he just did it. And then when the music started, he lit it up. He didn't hold back. He went too damn far. He got arrested. They threw everybody out. They stopped the concert. My point of the matter is Todd Saylor and you and Elvis are wired different. The brand Wired Differently does know no limits. It knows who you are. It wants to be who you are. It's you becoming who you want to be, right? It's not you being stuck with who you are. It's you becoming who you want to be. And the king knew that he had to go too far. And the whole premise of this entire conversation is, are you willing to go too far? My challenge is not that, me and Todd not like her because he pushes it too much and he's out here and he's doing this, and we're going to talk about me a little bit here. But the bottom line is I want to talk about you. When is the last time you went too far? And here's the thing. If we're not willing to go too far, then we are always coming up short. If we're not willing to go too far, then we're always going to come up short. So we've never been able to be in this position, right? To push the envelope, to go a little too far, to burn one up. Because I'm telling you, greatness is on the other side of too far, right? Everybody's stopping just short, right? Most people. The people that you talk about on social media, like the Elon Musks and those guys went too far. I've went too far. The king of rock and roll went too far, right? The people who don't go too far, unfortunately, are conservative people, right? And they're good people. You're one of those. I know I'm looking at you right now, but that's not that's not where you're going to find your valley of greatness, right? You're going to be stuck right here, always just short. And sometimes it's okay to go too far. Your entire life doesn't need to be out there in the abyss too far. But I want you to understand that we have got to be willing to push ourselves too far. Todd, you went too far. 3 years ago, you told your dad, your 80-year-old dad, that Tom's Donuts was technically the donut capital of the world. I said, Dad, listen to me. You've done amazing. I got this. My brother and I got this. This is the donut capital of the world. He goes, are you going to tell people that? I said, Dad, you're darn right I'm going to tell people that. This is the donut capital of the world. He says, son, listen. Why do you say things like that? Why do you say things like the donut capital of the world? How can you say that? You don't know that. You can't go out and start telling people that. Son, you're going too far. Dad, no, listen to me. I'm telling you, this is the donut capital of the world. And so for 3 years, I went out and I started banging on the drums, making the videos, pronouncing that we're the donut capital of the world. And May 30th this year, we broke the Guinness Book of World Records. We've been proclaimed the donut capital of the world. I dare any of you right now to Google donut capital of the world. Donut capital of the world. The donut capital of the world. Google it. Because Todd went too far. He said that this would be the donut capital. What if it doesn't work? I don't know. I thought about that. Well, you can't just say something like that and not really follow through on it. Of course, I plan on following through with it. Well, you just can't go out there telling everybody you're the donut capital of the world and then not make gains on it. I said, well, I'm going to make gains on it. I'm going to be the donut capital of the world. I mean, I have a plan, and I'm going to be the donut capital of the world. Right? Matter of fact, we're already the donut capital of the world. No one else is donut capital of the world. Why can't I be the donut capital of the world? Why can't you be the donut damn capital of the world? Why is this such a problem to go too far? I know I get wrapped up in this stuff, but my job isn't just to say these things. My job is to imprint you with the idea and the attitudinal disorder of wired differently. And so you got to go too far sometimes. You got to say the donut capital of the world. I told my dad and my friends in 1994 I was going to be a PEO salesman. I was going to be the best PEO salesman in the country. And then I said I was going to build a payroll company. And then I said I was going to build the biggest payroll company in 1,000 or over in the HCM category with SaaS and all the entire things that's going on with Kronos and UKG World. And I said, you can't say that. 20 years later, I did it. I said it. I did it. I went too far. Well, there's no way back when you make commitments like that. No, there's not. That's the idea of going too far. Life needs to be measured. I get that. We need measurable points in our life, but we also need to go too far. Because if we don't go too far, we're always short. And I want you to be willing in your Wired Differently journey to embrace that idea of going too far. And I'm going to tell you one last thing, and I'm going to go through the 3 points of going too far. And here's what I want to tell you. Not only did we become the donut capital of the world because I went too far. Not only did I write 2 books because some people in this industry said, well, you don't have to, people just want those books as postcards. People just want you to write books because it's a calling card. Just go out there on Amazon and buy your way to the bestseller list, and then you can just say that. Just go ahead and do that. Why are you spending 2 years on your first book, Todd? Why are you doing it that way? It doesn't make sense. No one else does it that way. You're actually writing the book. Todd, you're just going too far. What do you think is going to come of all this? going to go too far. I'm going to do it right. I'm going to do it with excellence, because if it does go too far, if it does go the distance, why am I doing this if I'm going to do something half-assed? I'm going to go too far. My plans are to go too far. My plans are to stretch the envelope. My plans are to basically say, Todd, that's a little too far. What are you thinking about? Your wife's challenging you. Friends are challenging you. They're all saying you're cray-cray. And what are you doing? You're writing another book? You're gone too far, Todd. Take the money you got. Quit spending it on this pipe dream wired different. You're gone too far. Well, it's not a pipe dream because I've gone too far. Just recently, I was able to book a national tour with Salem Media. 8 MSAs in the country, from Phoenix to Columbus. I went too far. Now I'm in. Now I'm deep. Now what you gonna do? Don't capital the world. Paysurf Systems, the HCM capital of the world, as far as I'm concerned, #1 in Kronos, 1,000 over. We are it. We are the bomb, chickadee. We are it, right? And so my first book sold quite a bit, but not as much as my second book. Over 10,000 copies, all as a self-publisher. And now Salem Media wants to say hello to me because I went too far. You've got to think about going too far. I mean, I'm sorry I'm putting my name in there with Elon Musk and the king of rock and roll, baby, right? Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a successionaire. A successionaire is a person who has a plan and he executes it over and over and over and over and over again. I'm on equal footing with Elon Musk. I'm on footing with Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll. My wife, any of the partners I have in this industry that have plans and they execute them over and over and over again, they are what I would call a successionaire. And I'm writing about it in my 3rd book, Your Will Be Done. You're going too far again, Todd. How can you write 3 books? I know this is live. I know it. Salem Media is probably going to call me and say, they're probably going to say, you went too far, Todd. Well, that's how we do it. So I want to give you 3 steps to going too far. I want you to tell you why. I want to inspire you why going too far is the motive of this operandi here. This is the wired differently vernacular, right? We got attitudinal disorder, this ability to understand that we are wired differently. This attitudinal disorder that takes us up from the genetic stage, from coming out at birth to the point of the environment, training our minds and taking us where we're going to go. And then this very point where we decide to let our prefrontal cortex, our mind, take over the rest of our life. Most of us don't do that. Most of us don't do it. No, we don't do it. We don't understand the fact that this attitudinal disorder that we have is the driver of our life. It's the driver of changing who we are to become who we want to be. It's the piece. It's the quintessential put. And I write about it, and you're going to read it, but I'm not going to be braggadocious about it right now, but it's the secret formula. Right? It's the secret formula. It's the things that we have to understand. But I want you to understand, I want you to be willing to change who you are to become who you want to be. And I want you to do that with understanding that at some point, you're going to have to go too far. There's no way around it. If you don't want to go too far, if you don't want to be told you went too far by your daughter, Courtney, Kendra, or Kara, or your wife, Tracy, if you don't want to be told you went too far by your executives in your company, and you can't smile about it and say, hey, well, that's what I expected from you, then don't be that person. I'm not saying that's a bad person as I do it. I'm here to inspire the Wired Differently mindset to take you too far, right? So this is a lot right now. So I just want you to understand right now, your only homework I have, I'm going to take you through these 3 points. We're going to go quick. Is to pick something, a plan, and take it just a little too strong. Right? Take it just a little too far. Go just a little too hard. And just don't quit when you think you should. Right? Maybe succeed and do one more thing. Right? Be willing to take it too far. Because this window of taking it too far generally isn't too far. There's a gap between being right and done and too far and exploding. And the gap is large. Larger than we require, larger than we understand. And we need to narrow that gap. And we don't ever know until we close that entire gap unless we go too far. So number one, what is far? Far, far, far away. One of my favorite movies of all time. Tom Cruise made a movie, Far, Near, and Away. Near, Far, and Away. I think it was called Near, Far, and Away. And Tom Cruise, I'm not a Tom Cruisey, but I will tell you, I respect his business. I respect his movies. That dude has taken it too far. But look at him. Look where he's at. Now, I'm not saying money is the end of all things. I'm saying successionaires. Executing a plan that you've hatched on your own and doing it over and over and over again is the ultimate bar of success to become a successionaire. But some successionaires have plans to make movies. Some successionaires make plans to go to Mars. Some successionaires make plans to make payroll companies bigger and bigger and faster and stronger. Some successionaires decide that they're going to write a book and someone's going to say, too damn far, you can't be the donut capital of the world. And then you make the biggest payroll company and you write a third book. And now you got an opportunity on Salem Media to have some fun, make some friends, and share the kingdom. Well, hey, how about that? I went too damn far. 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 An adverb. Far is an adverb. At or to a great distance, a long way off, at or to a remote point. We sailed far ahead of the fleet. So that's the dictionary. That's what the dictionary says. What is far? Well, I want you to understand what far is. A long way off, at or to a remote point. We sailed far ahead of the fleet. So understand, when you go too far, if you go far, you're ahead of the fleet, right? And you're a long way off, baby. And it's a remote place. It is a lonely place. You ain't got no friends because you are in a remote, far off place. You are way far ahead in the fleet. Far, an adverb, a long way off. All right, so let's break that down. Let's talk about it. So here's what I love to teach on acrostics. So here we go. F, far, F-A-R, far. We're going to bring this thing home, baby. I promised myself and my wife before I came down here, this would be done in 30 minutes, and I have got 6 minutes. I think I'm a professional, and I can get that done. So far, far, far away. Tom Cruise made that movie, and it's inspired me to understand how I'm going to share this with you. So I'm taking the 3 letters of far, and I'm breaking them down. Far. F. I want you to be wired differently in the way that you're considered yourself far and near away. Further than others. F is for further. Do you see yourself out in front of that fleet? Do you see yourself out there creating a path? Do you see yourself creating something new, original? Further away from the things that you're doing right now, further away from some of the things other people are doing. Further. F for further, right? It's not just the efforts that we make in life, my friends, but more so the distances that we're willing to go. Further than anybody else. It's not just the efforts. It's the distance. And the distance is further than anybody else. You don't stop with them. You go further. Further. Far. F is for further. A, all right, here we go. A, against. All right, A, you're against somebody. I want you to understand that being wired differently isn't always politically accurate. All right, I get it, but I'm just telling you. I wrote a chapter in my second book, Drift Again, called The Mark. Probably the best chapter in the book, other than the other 9. I can't pick them. I write them. I can't pick them. I love them. Some of them will come harder than the others, but the Mark was easy. The Mark was just me writing about being alone, me writing about me being against some other person, right? Me actually placing myself in perfect alignment to go get that dude, to go further than him. I picked him. I could name names right now. And in my book, I did name names. Maybe you're in it. But I named you as a mark. And it wasn't that I didn't like you. It's just that I wanted to pass you. I wanted to go further than you. I made it personal. When we make things personal, it gets done. There's nowhere to hide when it's not. If it's corporate, you blame other people. But when it's personal, right? And you're against somebody or something, you turn it into a war. You turn it into a battle, right? Right? Battlegrounds, Salem Media. I'm going to go speaking all over the nation, 8 different places with all my friends, right? Mike Gallagher and all those people that I'm working with. I'm so excited to do that with it. And I just want you to understand that I'm going to be with them, and we're going to be alone in this situation. And we're going to be on a plane, and we're going to be doing all this stuff. And it's going to be amazing, but we are in a battleground situation where we're talking to the people, right? Sebastian Gorsuch, Mike Gallagher, all these people are going to be on there. I'm just so excited to do that, but it's against, right? We're looking, there is an adversary, right? And I don't mean this to be a bad way, but in our life, the adversaries can be good people. It's just that we have to be against something to stand for something. So our adversary, or our other A word, is against. And sometimes we're alone, right? So far, F is for further, A is for against. Be recognizable to the fact that you are going to be against people at times in your life. It's just a fact, right? Further and against. And the last one I want to talk to you about right here, the R for far is wriggle. Wriggle. So wriggle doesn't start with an R. No, it doesn't. It starts with a W. But it sounds like an R. So I want to make sure that you understand that I'm staying within the confinements of my storyline and the rules of my engagement. And I've got 30 seconds to close this bad boy out. So here we go. Wriggle, 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 wriggle. W-R-I-G-G-L-E is a verb to make one's way by shifts and expedients, to wriggle out or escape of difficulty. Right? Just back to the beginning of the story in nick of time, a buzzer beater at 30 minutes and just in front of me. And I want you to know that I'm going to finish this in a nick of time. We are going to wriggle our way out of this situation because we went too far, right? Because we know we're against certain odds. Come on now, somebody. Be willing to go further, right? Be willing to go against somebody or something, and be understanding that if you go too far, you're going to just escape in the nick of time, right? And you're going to wriggle your way out of it. And it's going to feel so good while different. Well, listen, thank you for this time. It's been 30 minutes, and I really appreciate it. It goes so fast for me. I just want to challenge you to be, do, and think differently. I want you to go to toddsaylor.com, entrepreneurial performance coaching. I want you to just go to toddsaylor.com. You can think about me for speaking engagements. I'm filling up. It's been just a great run here. And I went too far. And I'm really glad. So thank you, man, for joining me in this podcast. Are you willing to go too far to become who you want to be? Wow, differently. I'm your man. This is your movement. Mindset, mission, movement, in a ministry. Have a great day.